Hello, mate, to Thrive Nation. It's going to be a fascinating podcast, but I want to focus on community and the power of community to heal. That community is medicine. And so I've got a legend here. He's got the same Greek heritage that I have. And so it's a privilege to have him on the show. Nick Koumalatsos. What a privilege to have you on the show, Nick.
Thank you for having me. Very much so.
Just give us a quick backstory, just your Greek heritage. Maybe you're from Sparta, just with your incredible businesses that you're running, and we'll get into the nitty gritty detail of it. But I'd love to know your roots.
Yeah, my family, I'm a first generation American. My family immigrated in 72. I believe it was 72. And then my grandparents left in 79 and my father stayed and I was born in 82. And so we've always had Ty go there every year. We're looking at property there now. Still have family there that we go visit every year. And sometimes twice a year, just depending on how I'm feeling.
Yeah,
But yeah, they're originally from Samos and Peloponnese. My grandfather was from Samos, and then my grandmother was from Peloponnese. And now we have a small place in Loutraki, right on the other side of Corinth.
beautiful.
Um, and I just got back actually from being there for 3 weeks with my family. Every time I go there, and it's harder to come back. It's like
Oh,
it
wow.
gets a little bit longer, and one day I just probably won't ever come back.
Yeah, that's incredible. My folks came out to South Africa in 1961 from Cyprus, and going back, we just spent now 3 weeks in Italy and Greece in August. And I must say, Greece was unbelievable, unbelievable from a lifestyle perspective. So,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe you go back to your roots. But let's talk about this incredible word, ginonia and ginotina, this thing of community. And those listening, we speak about community being one of the most important pillars with regards to healing and health and social connections and not being disconnected. And the stat that I throw out when I do keynotes is that loneliness is worse than smoking 15 cigarettes a day, being obese, being
Yeah.
physically inactive. And so just tell us about the group that and community that you've built and the importance of it.
Well, this to kind of back up what you're saying is there's this in America, there seems to be this idea that the lone wolf is like a strong wolf. In reality, the lone wolf is the lame and sick wolf that's been excommunicated from the pack. And the strength of the wolf is actually in the pack. And I can t and the analogy that I use with people is if you're in the woods and you come up across one wolf, yeah, that's bad, but you've got a fighting chance. Like
Mm.
you can, fight back and potentially win, if are a healthy, stable, fit human being. Uh, but the reality is, if you get a pack of wolves around you, like it's pretty much over. It's game over.
Mhm.
And and I think that's something that we're lacking in our culture as men is I truly believe that the powers that be, whoever they are, the invisible they, if you look at it systematically over a very long period of time, they have isolated men, removed men from families, um, talked about, slowly eradicated what, true masculinity is and labeled this thing as toxic, which is not real. You you can't be masculine and be toxic masculinity. It's an oxymoron. Um, so they've systematically made this thing happen to where men are isolated. They are live, was it Henry Thoreau said that men live a life of quiet desperation. He said that over 100 years ago, and it's more true today than it ever has been. And I think it's all part of that because it's all part of the design to keep men isolated because when we are with a pack, when we have community, when we have a tribe that we're a part of, we become very powerful. We become very powerful in our own individual state. We also become powerful as a unit in our families and then in our communities, and that starts to. And it's an interesting thing. I in my community that I have, which I'm sure we'll get into, but
Mm.
I asked them. I said, because this whole thing with Charlie Kirk and everybody's like, we got to fight back, and we like, who are you gonna fight? Who is
Mm.
they? who are you going to attack? You're going to fight back on social media? What is that going to do? I said, if you really want to change, go look in the man in the mirror. You want to affect change. And then in one of the coaching calls, I said, just run this experiment. Go to some AI source, go to Grok, go to ChatGPT, whatever you're using, and type in what would happen if 75% of men in America got fit and healthy? What are the second and third order effects of that? And the results was astounding.
Wow.
And it
Mm.
actually gave a like in 5 to 6 years, this is what you would see. In 10 years, this is what you would see. In 20 years, this is what you would
Wow.
see. From
Incredible.
a very simple change of men
Mm.
taking ownership of their lives and becoming more fit and healthy spiritually, physically, mentally,
Mm.
etc. Anyways.
Well, let's tell us the name of your community. We've got a lot of listeners in the US and that, and we're growing. We're in 169 countries now, the podcast. So, we're building our own tribe and that. But, tell us about the name and the frame and how you frame the
Yeah,
community.
the name is the Agoge, and the reason for that is as I started to see this degradation of men in America, me and my former teammate. Now I this really became birthed out of our own struggles of transition outside of the military. So it's like I was in the military from 2000 to 2012, and then I transitioned out and I just crashed and burned. And I wrote a book about it called
Excommunicated Warrior.
the Excommunicated Warrior 7 Stage of Transition. And so utilizing and what I saw and the book goes into it, but what I saw as a trend of people that are transitioning from one chapter of their life to the other, and how I was seeing the same trend in myself. And so I wrote that from my own point of view and my own story, highlighting those 7 stages and how I, went through those 7 stages. And then out of that, me and my friend, former teammate, my brother, Josh Hansberger, we started this community. And initially, it started as a fitness and nutrition solely community. But then guys weren't hitting their marks. And we started to realize like, oh, the problem isn't a fitness and nutrition problem. The problem is a space between their ears problem. It's a mindset problem. It's a faith problem. So we started to kind of combat that. And when we started to combat and question and challenge their beliefs and themselves, and their actions, is when we started to see really rapid change. And that's when things became, and here's the deal, Steve, is I heard that exact thing. It's like, well, I'm more of a lone wolf guy, I kind of, and then I said, okay, so do you feel like you're isolated? Do you feel like you're an island to yourself and all your problems are yours? And they're like, yeah, absolutely. It's every single guy.
Yeah.
I'm like, so we think that our problems are so unique to ourselves because we don't have a community, we don't have a tribe. But when men
Mm.
start opening up and talking, it's like, holy shit, man.
Yeah.
Like you're dealing with no one's a special butterfly. We're all dealing with the same
Yeah.
stuff.
That's true.
And when we start to talk about it, it takes away its power. And then we also start to have solutions because other
Mm.
people are different chapters. So
Mm.
8 years ago, we started the Agoge, and the reason why I named it obviously was my heritage, but also I felt like men needed to go back to the roots and needed like training camp to become better. I felt like we got soft, we got distracted, we drifted, as Napoleon Hill says in his book Outwitting the Devil. We truly drifted away from the things that matter most. We got pulled and distracted, and because of that, that's the reason why there's an acronym
Mm.
called SALTY, that men are salty, which stands for stressed, angry, lonely, tired, and yet yearning for more. And
Sure.
even though you have a family,
Yeah.
you feel alone,
Yeah. It's true.
you know, and
Many, many do.
the life of stresses, the things that we have put ourselves in, we feel stressed
Yeah.
with no outlet.
Yeah.
We
No.
just have to take it, bury it down,
Yeah,
cover
I
it up
got
in
you.
vices and distractions. Yeah.
And are you guys meeting once a week? Are you meeting in person? Are you meeting once a month? How do you
So
actually
we
connect?
we have a framework that I built out.
Yeah.
But we meet 3 times a week. We over deliver on value. So we do provide training and nutrition. We have one-on-one coaching. I do my tier one coaching, or we just have people that are part of the community. Um, and we have developed a framework, a 4 phase framework, which is one is master yourself. So there's an entire educational platform of, hey, listen, before you do anything, before you tell your family about how you're going to change and how you're going to save all this money and make money, let's just go look at the man in the mirror and instill some principles, some core values, and some
Mm.
discipline in your own life so that they don't laugh at you. Because what happens is these guys get motivated, and I'm for it. They come in, they're like, hey, and we've done this for, almost a decade now. They come in, they're like, hey, I've got this on point. I've got a routine. I've got training. I'm going to do all these different things. I'm going to become a better man. And since I'm going to become a better man, the whole family is going to become a better people. And we're all going to change our diet. We're all going to do this stuff.
Yeah,
And the wife and kids are looking at this dude like, dude, you were just picking Cheeto dust out of your belly button on the couch watching Netflix
exactly.
yesterday. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? So the phase one is truly like you have to lead yourself, because if a man can't lead himself, he can't lead his family,
yeah,
can't lead anyone.
100%. Exactly.
So phase two is mastering, is leading your family and getting them on board. Once you can lead yourself, then phase two is all about your marriage, recovering from resentment, recovering from bitterness, broken promises, creating plans in the family, creating better habits within the family and the kids, all the way through your time management, to your diet, to hobbies, etc. We have it all laid out. And then phase three, which is what everybody wants to skip to, typically the first thing is mastering your finances. But the problem is if you can't do phase one, where you don't have the discipline to put the cookie down,
Yeah,
what makes you think
exactly.
you're gonna have the discipline with your
Mm.
finances? You're
Never
not.
mind the brain fog you got and the decisions you're making and the poor sleep
Right.
you got. Now you got to perform and you can't actually perform because you don't have the biology.
Exactly. And then if you have a bad relationship with your wife and she doesn't trust you because of broken promises, you think you're going to get her on board with investing and saving and doing different and changing your lifestyle to make more, save and invest more money.
Mm.
No, it's not going to happen. So there's
Wow.
a sequence of events that has to happen. And then once phase three is locked down, then we go into phase four. And phase four is really legacy time, legacy building. What is your eulogy going to read? How are they going to receive you after you're dead? And then when you're in this third chapter of life, when you're in act three of life, what is your purpose? Who are you providing counsel to? Are they coming to you for counsel? Have you lived a life and established yourself as the elder of your family? Are you counseling and mentoring your kids, your grandkids? What is your legacy trust set up? So we cover everything from a leadership standpoint to a logistical framework
Mm.
of how to set your life up in this chapter. But
Wow.
you have to have the other three lined up. And then we
Yeah.
meet, like I said, we meet 3 times a week. And then, yeah, actually we do a lot of in-person events. Twice a year we do a men's retreat where we kind of rip away trauma, and I can get into that in a little bit. And then we also do a huge, like a big party called Agoge Live, where we bring in a bunch of speakers. And it's not a conference, it truly is an event. So we do jujitsu. We're doing cold plunges and
Yeah.
and sweat tents, and we're grilling out, and we're working out together, and it's only 50 people, so it stays pretty intimate. But we'll do that right here in Holly Ridge, North Carolina, November 14th through the 16th. That's an amazing event.
All right. So basically, 3 times a week, you're meeting online. You're not meeting in person in the gym or offices, or people have to be. I thought you were in Florida, but now you say you're in North
North
Carolina.
Carolina. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's online meeting.
3 times a week online, and then three minimum of 3 times a year in person.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I've been in a position 26 years. When people come in as a community, if they come in with a friend or they come in with a family member, if they don't come alone, I can tell you their results are at least 20, 30%. They feel supported, they feel safe, someone else is listening, someone that they can trust. If they have the treatments done, the regenerative medicine treatment techniques, and they got someone else in the room, they just do better. So we've got these
Yeah.
stats now in the last 15 years, which is absolutely incredible. But maybe someone's listening out there and they say, well, I don't have a community. We ask some, powerful questions. I think, who's got, your passwords, your bank accounts, your investments, who knows all your pins, who could you trust like your children with or trust your your parents with, what are some of the questions that people are listening out there saying, no, I'm okay? Because most of these guys are, I know I'm fine. I can do this alone. I don't share anything with anyone. I don't trust anyone, been burned too many times. What are the powerful frames or questions that people should be asking themselves?
It's funny that you say that is because the same guys that are doing that are white knuckling through life. Um, I think that you have to go look in the mirror and go out and take and we have in phase one, we have this mirror assessment where for everybody else, we put on this face and we say all those things that you just said. But then when no one's home and we go look in the mirror, what do we really see? And if we're truly honest with ourselves, because we can lie to ourselves, but we know the answer, we know the truth. So we can say it, we can look in the mirror, and we have this exercise where they literally go into a bathroom, and I want you to have a conversation with yourself and look yourself in the eyes and talk about something that's super uncomfortable. What is the truth that you can say all those things, but the reality is, how alone do you feel? How alone do you actually feel? And you can be the biggest, toughest macho man dude, but at the end of the day, do you feel alone? And do you feel unheard and unappreciated and stressed? And I think you have to get really honest. And a good friend of mine, a former teammate, said it best. He just said, you just have to submit. And I know that for men, that's a very hard thing to do, but just submit to a process, submit to love, submit to the ability to change and grow and see things from a different perspective. You just have to let it all go. Let this ego go that is holding you back. Like, oh, I'm a man. It's like, listen, the greatest men in the world seek counsel. No one did it by themselves. Alexander the Great himself had counsel in his name. Julius Caesar had counsel that he did. Marcus Aurelius had multiple mentors from the time he was a young boy. Had some amazing mentors in his life to help him become the man that he was. So what makes you think that you're different other than this rhetoric that you've been programmed to think that you don't need anybody? No man is self-made. There's no such thing as a self-made man.
Mm.
It takes a tribe, it takes a community, it takes people in your corner. And if you don't have people in that corner, you have to ask yourself why. Is it you? Do you not have what I call rules of engagement from the military? Do you not, that essentially translate to core values? What are your core values? What are your morals? And do you have any? And if you don't have any, is it because they're not correct?
Yeah.
They're not the ones that are going to align with other people. And what I think most people avoid community or avoid creating a friendship that way or a brotherhood that way is because you do this lone wolf thing. And I think it's because when you show yourself, now you have to hold yourself to a higher standard. If I change out, you're the sum of the five closest people you hang out with, right? So if you're hanging out with losers, the bar is really low.
Yeah.
If I go get higher caliber friends, guess what just happened?
Mm.
The standard has now risen. And now I have to hold myself to that standard. So it's the same thing with like you said, what questions should you be asking yourself? Well, what is the mission? What is the purpose of my life? Do I have clarity around it? And I think men don't want to dive into that question and gain clarity around their life and where they want to go with their life. Because once you have clarity of the person that you're supposed to be, that you were created to be, well, it becomes very clear of the things that you're not supposed to be doing that don't serve that person.
Yeah.
Therein lies the issue. Like now, once I have clarity, it's very clear that these things that I do, these vices, these habits, give me no return of investment on the man that I was created to
Mm.
be. So it's a very scary thing to get clarity. It's a very scary thing to realize what your purpose is
Mm. But I mean, a lot of
and
people
the
have that.
direction you're going.
They have that picture, but the chasm is too great. They don't have a community, and that's why I wanted to have you on the show, because people are listening now, and it's not only men, it's women as well. There's not this close,
Yeah.
tribe. And so you try and you put a few things in place, and then something goes down at work and you get distressed, and then you break that. Or you've got it really good with regards to your health and your wellness, but then, financially it's a problem. So I mean, I think that's the point of what you're doing, is trying to create the framework of people that can help you along the journey.
Well, and here's the deal, at the end of the day, Steve, like it's not a matter of if or when. It's not a matter of if things are going to go sideways. It's just when.
Yeah.
Life is a roller coaster. Things will go sideways. 100%. You can count on it. That is something that you can bet on 100% of the time and you will win, that life will go sideways. It will kick you between the legs 100% of the
Mm,
time.
yeah.
And what typically happens is when that happens, and I see it in the coaching clients that I have, all of the things that they're doing to make themselves feel stable, healthy, and whole, and physically, mentally, and
Mm,
spiritually, those are the first things that they get out, and they think they have to go into the bunker, white knuckle their life, and it's like, well, I just can't go to the gym, I can't go to church, I can't do these things, I got to give up my time with my community because I don't have time because I got to focus on this other thing right now because everything went sideways. But then all of the positive habits that they have, that they had created, that were positive coping mechanisms to deal with stress, with dealing with things went sideways, are no longer there. And now we're in a negative snowball effect and things just compoundingly get worse.
mm,
But when you're in a community, it's like, hey man, listen, I'm sorry that things are going sideways. We can bet on that. But this is when you anchor down into your foundation. All of this stuff that you've created for yourself, this is a foundational thing of who you are. You maintain that foundation no matter what. That foundation is what gives you the ability to deal with all the other stressors as you're
yeah.
going through something.
Powerful.
You have to
Now,
have that. And if you don't have that, then yeah, you are going to spiral out of control. And if say you lost 30 pounds, well, then guess what happens? You yin yang and you gain 35.
yeah.
And this is the reason why you're doing this constantly.
Yeah, got you. Now, is it a Christian-based community? I mean, are there certain values? Like I think of the multiple communities I have in my life, and I think of my church community, really, really close and tight. I think of, the guys that I run with. I've done a lot of running in my life. The guys that I go to gym with, really, really important. They're my friends that I just
Yeah.
hang with and play paddle with. Is there an essence to this, that to say, listen, this is the code of conduct that we believe in? Because obviously if there's a mismatch in values, it's going to be difficult to build community.
I would say that, we're not like, it's not church. I'll say that. But obviously, I mean, we've got multiple different faiths and religions in there.
Mm,
But at the end of the day, we do have a very much it is a very probably more so Christian value-based community than
mm.
anything. Um, but that doesn't deter people. I mean, we've got Jewish people in there as well, and
Yeah.
and they align. I
Mm.
think if you look at it from a bigger perspective, because of my background, we're 75% military, first responder, type of people. The other 25% of those people are people that align with those values,
Okay.
with the
Got you.
service,
Mm.
people that have served, the things that are bigger than you. They believe in America. They believe in the values of America, the chance that people can come here. I mean,
Mm.
look, like I think America is an amazing country. It's one of those countries that, you know, my family could come over as immigrants that didn't speak the language and make a life here and become extremely successful, and gave me the opportunity to become extremely successful. My cousins back home don't have the same opportunity that I have, and it's been harder for them when they could apply the same amount of effort there that I apply here, and I have exponentially more success. I think that's an amazing thing, and I think that's really where the core value is. Like, listen,
Mm.
at the end of the day, if you're willing to put the work in, if you're willing to put the effort in, you can really achieve something for your
Mm.
life and your family, and build a lasting legacy here. And I
Yeah.
think that's extremely important to
Mm.
remember.
Sure, and I think also it just depends on what your definition of success is. So, we debate this with the family back in Cyprus, and what's success. And I know some of them are really struggling, but some of them have had community and a purpose for their own family, and contentment and a peace. And I've been to America many times, 25 times, probably 30, over 30 states, incredible opportunities. But I think a lot of the capitalistic thinking has isolated people in, my castle, my life. And I think what I love about what you're doing is you're trying to bring people together, and the
Yeah.
question I even want to ask you now, and it's presupposed by this is, what does Nick Koumalatsos not do, but who is he? So who are you? Because so many people answer that by what you do. And
Yeah.
people ask me, "Oh, you're a doctor. Oh, you're a physician. Oh, you're this. Oh, you a regenerative medicine specialist. Oh, you're a comrades runner." But I want to know, who is Nick Koumalatsos?
I'm a dad. I'm a dad. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a man that just loves life, loves people, loves humanity. Um, I believe that there's a ton of good in this world, and I see the beauty of this world, and I think that's who I am at the core. Like at the core,
Mm,
it's just who I am as a family man, a father that just loves being a
mm,
dad. I've been a dad for 23 years,
wow.
and there's a lot of things, like you said, there's a lot of things that I do. And
Mm,
that's really what that book was about is,
mm,
in my early years, I became attached to what I did. And when I got out, it was an identity crisis and I didn't realize who I was because who I was what I did. And I had to figure out who Nick was.
yeah,
And at the end of the day, man, Nick's very simple.
yeah.
Nick's a dad.
Beautiful.
That's who I am. Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so you're going to do a bit of coaching now with me. I got an incredible friend of mine. I play paddle with him. He's got 6 children. Okay,
Beautiful.
I spent some amazing time with him. But you know what the incredible thing was is I said to him, this thing of disconnection, social isolation. The average American in the last 30 years has lost so many best friends. I think it's down to 1.2 from 3. So the social
Yeah.
scientists have proven this again and again. And so he said to me, he asked me a question. He said, "Steve, how many times a week do I see my best friend?" He said, "I got 3 best friends, but I got one really special." I said, "I don't know. Maybe you see him once, twice a week." He says, "I see my best friend every single day for lunch, every single day." So he said to me, "How often do you think I see, like my religious community?" I said, "I don't know, maybe twice a week." He says, "I go to church or synagogue or shul, if you're listening out there, in the morning for half an hour and in the evening for half an hour every single day." And
Yeah.
I was just blown away about this. And this guy's an entrepreneur. He's got businesses. He said, "My business could have been 10 times bigger." And so my question to you from a coaching perspective is, I've got 3 incredible friends outside of my family. I've got 2 amazing brother-in-laws that I trust, Greek family, the deal. But I want to see them more. I want to connect with them more. I don't see them often enough. Maybe I see them once a week or once every 2 weeks. We speak once a week. Is how do we coach the value of connecting with people? Because people have dismissed it. They don't understand it. They don't value it. How do we coach this process in people and coach me to say, "Hey, you need to see your friends more often. You need to value it. You need to spend direct time with them, connect with them."
Let's reverse engineer it. Steve, I would ask you what your top 4 priorities in life are. So you list out your top 4 priorities.
Yeah.
Let's put them on the whiteboard. Okay.
Okay.
And
Number one,
most
God.
people,
Number two, family. Number three, friends. And number four, work. There you got it.
it's typically the same of everybody. Everybody has the same top 4 priorities. But then what I do is I go, okay, Steve, I want you to tell me, let's get a piece of paper. Here's a pen. From the time you wake up to the time you go to bed, I want you to outline your schedule of where you spend your time every 15 minutes. Like we're going to go into the detail. Like every 15 minutes, what are you spending your time on? And then what I do is I look at your routine and I look at the priorities on the board and I go, something's amiss here. Either you're lying here or you're lying
Mm,
here or you're not living congruently with the things that matter most to you. And this is the reason why you feel the way that you do. So if these are the things that matter
mm,
most, what do we got to do to realign that to where you are feeding the top 4 priorities in your life? Because I think what happens with men is we have our priorities, but then we have this idea that we have to sacrifice those priorities when we have to sacrifice those priorities for those priorities. When the reality is we just need to be more intentional of our time and what we're doing. There's a lot of fat in our life that needs to be cut out.
mm,
So it sounds like your friend doesn't have a lot of fat in his life and he's focusing on the things that matter most to him. Which is interesting though, is when you prioritize the things that matter most to you, you're not drifting, you're not wasting time. Everything that you do has a return of investment. Now, that a return of investment doesn't always have to be a monetary return of investment. It could be playing with your kid. It could be taking your wife on a date night. It could be going having a coffee with your friend at the cafe. These things all have return of investment. So I would challenge you that by living by your top priorities, you're cutting out the fat, and you actually
Mm,
going to be more productive in your life on the things that you actually want to
mm,
do, and you'll be more fulfilled. And then the way that you attack life will be completely different because your cup has been filled up. But what we do is we redline, we white knuckle, and we just try to bury through life unfulfilled and
mm.
not actually our soul being filled up, which
Yeah.
is what I think is really what you're talking about.
That's true. And reverse engineering is really, really powerful coaching tool. But I do want to ask, when it comes to your friends, do you sit down and say, look, because a lot of their values are the same. So it is God and we connect on the spiritual
Yeah.
side and the family side, but then like he's cool to meet once a month, so do you sit down and say, bud, I really want to meet once a week and, I want to go walk and,
I,
and have a coffee. I mean, these conversations, to be honest, or do you say, hey, bud, I want to show you all my bank statements and have a look at what's happening, with where I'm spending money and I want you to be honest. And the guy, like, just all right, that's another level. Or, geez, once a week. I mean, don't
I think
smother me. It's
I have a
hard.
bunch I have a bunch of those different friends. I'll tell you my very best friend I talk to every single day. Every single day. And he doesn't even live close to me. He lives in
Mm.
Hawaii. We're like 6 hours apart.
But are
And we
you
still
calling
talk.
80% of the time, or is he calling 20, or is it like a
We
50-50?
have like we have a standing daily appointment. He knows exactly when I'm going to call, or my schedule a little bit hectic and the time difference. So we have like a standing, he knows exactly when I'm going to call, or he's going to call me like around this time. This buffer is when him and I are going to talk
Wow.
every single day,
Jeez, that's incredible. And do you
every
guys, does
single
he
day,
know everything about you, your bank accounts, your will, what's
everything,
happening?
everything, all of it. And I know his.
Yeah.
And family problems, kids problems, our health problems as we get older, the little weird
Yeah.
post 40-year-old things that we have going on, like all of it. And because we've known each other for so long, I mean, we've been friends for almost 20 years. We deployed together. The guy saved my
Mhm.
life in combat. Like we've been friends through very different versions of ourselves.
Mm.
So we've like it's very interesting. Like we
Yeah.
like the chapters that have changed and where we're at today compared to the people. Like we're not even the same people yet. We're still friends.
Yeah. And how
And
do you
then
quantify that for your health? I mean, how valuable is that to your health? Tell the audience and, just how important that is.
so it's interesting. Have you seen the whole? And then there's controversy around it, but the show the Blue Zone
Yeah, yeah. Yeah,
show.
yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of controversy now with the numbers and the data and all that.
Sure. Well, however, but nonetheless, is what was the common theme
Mm,
across the board of all those elder labs? It was all community, it was all friendships, it
mm,
was all family, it was all connecting and not being isolated. Like we're tribal people. We're not meant to be isolated. We're meant to be in a tribe. And I think that without that is when I start white knuckling. It's when I'm
mm,
starting to like bear down my teeth and just trying to get through the day. I don't have this like I can't breathe. Like this relief of pressure off your shoulders, this relief of pressure off of your chest. I even go further than that. I mean, I do jujitsu 4 days a week. So like all of my jujitsu friends are there. So it's not only are we like beating the crap out of each other on the mats, but we're also like if you do this practice, you know that like the most important time in jujitsu is usually when after we're done training and we're just all laying around on the mat, sweaty, talking, catching up. Like these are
mm.
my friends.
Yeah.
And it saddens me that there's so many men that don't have that. They wake up, they're alone with their family, and they're just so isolated. They go to work, they do this thing, they come home, and it's just rinse and
Mm.
repeat until they die.
But
And
don't you think capitalism and Western society and modern day living has festered that? Because you go back to the villages in
no,
Greece and Cyprus, and the guys have the similar homes and they've got similar incomes, and the one's not driving a Porsche and showing it off. You know, the guys' kids are looking similar. They go to the same school, they eat off the land. So there just seems to be this less competitiveness. We're all in need, and we need to collaborate more together because no one's sort of ahead and having, like a different economic status. It almost seems that people are, especially men, are ashamed if they don't have the big house and the big car, and they then isolate.
yeah, I think what you're talking about is a very American gluttonous thing that is almost programmable into people, but I don't think that's the heart of what you're, I think people take capitalism and match it to that. I'm very to do off. I'm moving into an apartment for under $2,000 a month. I don't need to do that. Why am I
Mm,
doing that? Because I value investments. I value what I'm going to do more so than this like elaborate living condition or whatever.
mm,
Like that's not what it's about. I want to have more time with my family and things that I don't have to manage this huge
mm.
property. Okay. I'm if you want to say anything, I'm a capitalist.
Yeah.
I believe in free enterprise. I believe in that if you have an idea, you have a problem, well, let's take it to market and solve the problem. The harder the problem is, the more you can charge, and the more
No,
people that
I
are
got
thankful
you, and
for it.
and so am I. But I just think, like in Europe, and especially in Greece and Cyprus, when I'm looking at, they need each other more. So, in
So,
like when you do
Steve,
well, you don't need someone as
I
much.
understand that, but I go look at my family, and you know what? Yeah, they have that, but they're also stressed to the gills to make ends meet.
Yeah,
The
no,
economy, the taxes are so high.
I got
The
you.
you know, like they're like now they're getting to the elderly age, and it's like, okay, I'm gonna have this. It's basically like their version of Social Security,
Yeah,
and it barely pays the bills. And they're
no,
like, how am I gonna the food's going up, how this isn't going down. So like we can paint this picture of like, hey, everything is perfect in these other countries and they have this community and they have connection, sure. But guess what, when you go into the home, my Thea, my uncle, they're like, are we going to be able to continue to live here? Are we going to be able to
mm,
continue to buy bread?
yeah, I got you. I got
Am
you.
I going to be able to get medical care for my husband and for my kids and this and that? Like this is a
Mm,
big fear. There's an economic crisis happening there. So it's like on one hand, it's like, oh, it's all beautiful. Yeah,
yeah,
the idea of it's beautiful. In reality, it's very scary. It's very scary.
no,
And I'm very blessed that my family made the decisions that I can create. Like I come from nothing. I'm a high school dropout. I was poor. I lived in trailer parks and Section 8 housing. And because of my effort, because of what I did, the choices that I make, I will be the one person in my family that will completely change my family's trajectory for generations to come.
yeah.
I will be the one that have created generational wealth for my family to come.
Mm. And what's more important is now you got the connection, the community, the people together, not the isolation. So you're bringing that
Yeah.
in now, and as you're raising your kids, you say you don't do it alone. It's not about your castle and your kingdom. It's about the togetherness of community and doing something to solve a problem.
Yes. And the one thing and the thing that I'll add to that is I will never apologize for making money. You know why? Because if I don't make money, if I don't have money, if I don't work and build and scale what I have
Mm,
and use the gifts that God gave me to
mm,
create, without money, I can't donate to St. Jude's. I can't
mm,
buy my mom a house. I can't take care of my grandparents. I can't give. You can't give. You can't make change. You can't
mm.
help other people unless you have freaking money. Like you want to make change, you want to make the world a better place, get filthy rich. Watch what you can do with that money. Now, I'm not saying do that and then go isolate and go be a
Yeah,
hoarder. No, I'm saying give.
yeah,
But the reality is like you cannot take care of people. You cannot donate to churches.
mm,
You cannot donate to these organizations that are making huge impact in the world unless you have money.
yeah.
Well, what does that mean? Well, it means I need to be a bit of a capitalist, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah, it's just, it seems the extremes are in place. And I think to find the radical center is what you're trying to
I
do with the
I
community.
think I think what it is there's a lack of values.
Mm.
There's a lack of values. They've taken God out of the family. They've taken men out of the family. And when you do that, it's a recipe for disaster. There's nothing wrong with having money. There's nothing wrong with building things. There's nothing wrong with capitalism if done the right way and having the right core values and morals.
Mm. No, it's exactly it. Because a lot of people saying, listen, I want to create generational wealth. I've come from nothing like you, but I'm not going to see my kids. I'm going to work 16 hours a day, you know, and when I
That's
do
a
take
lie.
time off, yeah, yeah,
That's a bad management. Like what are you doing? That's bad management.
yeah. Oh, but that's the
There's
belief
people
out there, isn't it, Nick? Come on, there's a belief. American dream. I got to work harder. I got to chase harder. I got to build more. No one's going to do it for me.
there's a
That's
there's a
what's out
great
there.
there's a great book by what is his name? Dan Sullivan called 10x is better than 2x. Phenomenal book. And his whole thought process is work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
And you're absolutely right. There is this like very hardcore grind culture in America. And don't get me wrong, I was part of it
Mm,
because like as a starting entrepreneur, I thought that that's what you had to do. You had to white knuckle, you had to work 18 hours a day, sleep under your desk. But you know what I did when I did that? Got unhealthy, got overweight. Life started to fall apart, was drinking too much, trying to cope with a bunch of things, not sleeping well. And it wasn't until I started focusing on these foundational things, like you talked about, like family, health,
mm,
community, like putting myself first, that things got my brain looked at problems differently. And then I was able to actually scale my life,
mm.
let go of the vine, get other people that were smarter than me to do things. And then I built two 8-figure businesses and a 7-figure business because of that. Do you know what
Brilliant.
I mean? Like, but that didn't happen until I let go and stood back and actually
Mm,
prioritize the things that, like I said, those 4 things on the board. When I started prioritizing the 4 things on the board, everything started to change. And that's when real wealth started to come. That's when real opportunity started to come.
mm.
And it's like a trick. It's almost easy. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, I got you.
Versus like, I'm just going to grab it and just force everything to
Mm,
happen. And then my wife hates me. My kids don't know me.
yeah.
I have no friends. And then like, okay, so that you did it. You built generational wealth. You got to the finish line, but now you're at the finish line by yourself. You're crossing the finish line by yourself. And the whole reason why you did all this was for your family, and you turn around and they're not even there anymore.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
You
Or
lost.
they broken and just abused because you weren't present, or you were present and abusive, and
Right.
so you caused distance between yourself and the people that you supposedly doing it for. So
That's right.
all right, so do you license Agoge, or is it just in the States, or how does it work? Because you've obviously developed
No,
a framework.
we've got people everywhere, man. We've got people. It's because it's an online community.
Mm,
Um, it's all through us. It's myself
mm,
and Josh and a
mm.
handful of coaches. But we have people literally all over the world. South Africa, we got multiple people in Thailand. We got
Wow,
people in Australia. It's
beautiful.
Spain. It's beautiful. It's
Mm,
beautiful. Obviously, that the majority of everybody here is in America, but
mm.
I think that when I start speaking to this thing, I think that it's not necessarily an American problem. I think it's a man and family problem,
Absolutely.
and men across the world that have families align with that, and they go, "Yeah, that's what I'm missing. That's the thing that I'm missing." And then we do challenge them. I challenge them. This is a hub, right? This is your hub of a community of like-minded men that you can find. If you don't have them where you're at currently, today, right now, today, you sign up, you're going to have a group of men that align with your more like who you want to become. Some people are in day one, some people are in day 365. I've got guys in there that have been here for 7 years. One
Wow.
of the guys that we have started, he was our second rotation of setup, and he's been with us for almost 8 years. He's never left.
Incredible.
And that's because that's his community. But then what we do is like, okay, get the information, but then go build your communities. Who is the sum of the top 5 people you hang out with? Your network is your net worth. So we challenge people to go, hey, listen, go now it's time to you need to be the leader. You need to go,
Mm,
motivate and inspire other men and rise this community around, whether it's like a jiu-jitsu on,
mm,
Saturdays in the garage and some mats, whether it's going to coffee, maybe it's
mm,
at church. It doesn't really matter what it is, but go make it for yourself.
mm,
And you need to go lead your community. You're
mm.
called to do so.
Yeah, brilliant. Just a quick one, because I want to get to we're coming to the end of the show, but just in terms of kids, the communities to build self-confidence and strength, is it? I know you're in jiu-jitsu. Do you recommend that for kids? I've got a 9-year-old daughter who I think who went to Greece and Cyprus over many years ago often and just said, I love the environment. Back home in South Africa, there's a lot of crime, there's a lot of fear, there's a
Yeah.
lot of stress. I mean, you're talking about your basic human, need is to feel safe. We've started with Krav Maga with her. What do you think for kids that, because I know this is something that'll be pertinent to South African citizens. Do you think Jiu-Jitsu, Krav Maga, Judo, where do you think they could start that would really help their confidence?
Um, I think jujitsu is absolutely crucial for we started my kid, my third one, when he was 2.5 years old. Now he's 5, and there's a lot of data around confidence of kids who roughhouse and roll rough and tumble play with their fathers and with other men.
Yes, 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 yes.
Like an enormous amount of confidence and an enormous amount of peace that they get. Not only that, but also in line with their development, right? Um, I think that it is not only a nice to have. I think that it should be a requirement for children. Now, I'll say not only that, I'll say the same thing, um, that if your kid's doing it, then as a father, you should be doing it as well. Uh,
Nick, you're just throwing me under the bus there.
so, just because you can't be a hypocrite, nor can you allow your kid to beat you up. Um, but at the end of the day, especially for young girls, you got to think at like from a my wife coaches women. She's been doing jiu-jitsu for quite some time. She's very good. She's a competitor. She's 40 years old. So to say that you can't be done is just a
Mm,
lying to yourself. Um, but she, works with kids and young girls. And to be 100% honest, if a young girl learns jiu-jitsu, these are skills that will protect her from the evil of this world for the rest of her life.
hmm.
If
Wow.
you want to look at if you want to look at situations like sexual assault and things like that, literally, if someone tried to do that to my wife, those are the positions that she literally could make somebody, like, catch somebody and make them pass out.
Yeah.
And I would put her up against somebody who is like, if there's a man that is never trained, like, they don't stand a chance. Now she knows how to break contact and get away, but if somebody grabbed her, they would have a very, very rude awakening of
Mm,
the events that would transpire from that event. And if I look at a young girl, just having the basic knowledge of how to defend herself, how to utilize her body, is crucial. And I think, and if you go back to tribes, if you go back to ancient Greece, like, these are things that these weren't just niceties. They weren't nice to haves. They were basic requirements of human life. Like, the girl, like, you looked at, ancient Sparta, the girls trained
yeah.
in combatives. And that's also made, like, if you read the history, it's what made them, why they had a voice. It's why they were confident. It's why they were the women who led.
Yeah.
I think
Powerful.
that I think that young girls, you wouldn't see a lot of the issues that you have with young girls if you could put them in that sort of training environment.
Sure. Powerful, powerful. Okay. Our last round, Nick. Wise words there. I'm going to say a word and you're going to just give me your first thought in a sentence. Okay. So it's a quick fire round. I say a word and whatever the first thought, your first sort of gut response on it.
Okay, I like it.
Okay. Word number one, adversity.
Required. Requirement for life. If you don't have adversity in your life, you're not growing, you're not been, you need that friction. Adversity is what makes you persevere. I mean, it is everything. Don't push it away, welcome it, bring it. Like, make adversity part of your life. And if you don't have adversity in your life, create adversity in your life.
Brilliant. Second word, COVID.
Fake. Bullshit. Sorry. That's just what
No,
it
no,
is.
don't say sorry. That's exactly what I want out of you.
It's programming people. It ruined families. It took kids away. It created suicides. It created an environment for vaccines to hurt a lot of people. It's heartbreaking. My heart really breaks because of that situation.
Mm.
Um, yeah.
Third one, peptides.
Peptides. Peptide. Modern miracles of science.
Brilliant.
if you're not if you're not looking into peptides and figuring that out, especially somebody that's in their 40s that had a career in special operations, um, get educated on them. They really are helping change the world and make people healthier.
Mm.
And it's awesome that they're becoming more and more widely available. It's actually one of the things it's one of the things we do in one of my businesses, Core Medical Group, that we heavily um, push and support people with peptides.
Brilliant. Sauna.
A daily requirement. Hot, super hot. Don't do the infrared. Get in there and get in the super hot, 200 plus degrees um, daily and sweat and bring your mates.
Brilliant. Sunlight.
The essence of life. If you're not getting sunlight, if your vitamin D is low, everything else is low, testosterone, everything. Get out in the sun, take your shirt off, get a freaking tan, you look better.
Mm. Okay, last one. Connection with God.
You will always feel like something is lacking until you have a connection with God. Everything else in your life could be perfect, and you will always be looking for something else. And that's usually that is the thing that's missing. You have to go find your faith if you want to complete the circle, if you want to be a full human being, you have to find your faith.
Brilliant. I want to declare favor and blessing over you that you would rise up into your calling and your purpose, that your community would be fruitful, and that you would just extend a legacy of love, faith, and hope wherever you go. What a privilege to have Nick Koumalatsos on the show, a wonderful Greek Spartan warrior, a modern Spartan warrior. And so thank you for your time. A warm welcome to come to South Africa, to come spend some time. It's a bucket list place, from the Vic Falls down in Southern Africa to having a safari. Cape Town, your dollar goes far, and we'll have you in my home with pleasure. We've had some other podcast guests come, so what a privilege to get to know you, and go forth with Agoge. It's amazing.
Thank you so much, sir.